welcome to the Money Badger Show. I'm Dennett, the host and producer. If you didn't watch our last episode, be sure to go back and catch it, because in the studio I have two guests from Canada. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the tech scene is like in Canada, what's going on, and then we're going to dive in depth on this project of how the blockchain can be used to help solve hiring while using the blockchain to solve hiring for future blockchain positions, an area I'm personally very interested in. And they already informed me that resumes are going to become something of the past as we move into the blockchain world. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could just get you to restate your names, the company you're with, and a little bit about your background. So,
Sure. I'm Karen Olson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Blockable and the abl ecosystem.
Well, welcome to Silicon Valley.
Thank you.
And I'm David Olson. I'm the CIO at Blockable. I lead the team building our abl network.
All right, well, thanks. So you're both down visiting Silicon Valley from Canada. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in Canada, what's the tech scene like outside of Vancouver, because you said, was it 4 hours?
Yes.
So you're between Vancouver and Harrison Hot Springs.
Well, more like between Vancouver and Calgary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the area is a valley, but...
The Okanagan Valley, yeah.
Is that like Canada's Silicon Valley counterpart?
It's an emerging market for sure in tech. The Okanagan Valley was historically an agricultural area. It's world known for its wines, but it's also very much emerging as a tech center. So.
Did you say Facebook, Google, and some of the big tech is there?
So it's those are companies that are in the Vancouver area, but Kelowna's had its success stories. Disney has a studio in Kelowna. There's been other successful exits, and it has a growing ecosystem. It hosts a startup event called MetaBridge every year, which is a global startup, tech startup festival or event, conference, and it's growing. Last year I think the economic report was that technology put about $3.6 billion into the local economy. So that for a small region, it's pretty substantial. Yeah.
Now you guys are focusing on the blockchain for hiring. So is there a big blockchain group starting in Canada? Is this looking like it's are you developing this for the Canadian market?
So the Canadian tech industry itself is known for, it's known for its entrepreneurship and its leading edge technologies, and certainly blockchain is one of those emerging technologies that Canadian entrepreneurs are focused on, but also the government is putting, focus around a technology supercluster. Of course, Ethereum, and the Buterin family is out of Toronto, and although they did eventually take the technology and launch it out of Switzerland,
Whoa! I'm confused. I thought blockchain was decentralized. So first off, for our viewers, you've got the Bitcoin blockchain was the first blockchain out there. Ethereum, I think, is the second biggest.
It is.
Yes.
And now Ethereum is really good for doing smart contracts. So is that why you chose to work with the Ethereum blockchain?
Yes, it is, and we do have a relationship with the Buterins as well. So Ethereum allows us to do what we need to do with the smart contracts, to distribute our bounty and to be able to build trust, and it's accessible to us right now.
Okay, for someone that doesn't know, what is a smart contract?
Well, a smart contract is a contract that will get triggered automatically through some event. It doesn't require humans to write the contract every time it occurs. It is smartly written to know when to execute, what to execute on, and what to do. So it's an autonomous almost contract.
So it's software.
It is software. It's a software on a network.
That has an if-then statement added to it.
That's the best way to look at it. If this happens, then I do that, right?
So it could repeat, be fair, no judgment there. It's just the statement's added into the blockchain, and then if the conditions are met, it implements.
Right. Say,
Or if they're not met, then I suppose it doesn't implement.
so say if you are hired on our network,
Yeah.
that would be a major event for you and the network. And as a result, there would be a distribution of the bounty, among other informations. On the
What's a
network.
bounty?
A bounty is, I guess, a reward or a fee that we would provide professionals on the network for being hired. Typically, that fee would go to other actors like recruiters. And we're trying to incentivize the people who really provide value on a social network.
Where does this
Content
fee
creators.
come from?
It comes from the people who need employees. They typically pay a fee, but we've reduced that fee significantly, and we've created a more direct relationship through our design from employer to employee without intermediaries.
Okay, so if I'm a typical Silicon Valley company today and I want to hire some direct report employees, I'm going to have an HR department, right? We're going to open up some recs, and then where's
You're
the
probably
fee?
going to spend money to post them on Indeed or LinkedIn. You're probably going to hire a recruiter or two, or you've got internal recruiters that you're working with. So there's either their salaries or there's a placement fee that's going to be associated with them. Typically, we're looking at, if you're talking Silicon Valley and you're looking for a full stack developer, you could be upwards of 30% of somebody's annual salary as a fee.
And a very
Now, with this new system, so there'd be a small fee that you call bounty, and that sounds like you're going to be a headhunter or something and get a bounty.
I guess it is the language associated with the blockchain, and but it really is the placement fee.
Yeah.
That would typically be distributed to one person or one organization.
So I want a bounty on my head in this case.
Right. So if you're somebody looking for a job, and even if you're not somebody looking for a job, the system is smart enough to know when it's probably time for you to move on to what's next in your career for your own career advancement.
Okay, well, let's I want to walk through this in a couple different ways. First, let's go through the finances. So instead of hiring a company in Silicon Valley hiring and paying Indeed, they're going to pay a quote-unquote bounty. And where does that fee go, and what percent or what size is it?
So internal HR manager, or recruiter, or whoever it is from the organization uploads the requirements into the system of what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And they come back to work the next day or a few hours later, and the system will have matched them with the top 5 candidates that they believe for this role. Then the person just can go through it. They're already vetted. They've got all kinds of things like their psychometric testing. They can see their educational background. They can see who's made attestations against them. There'll be algorithmic matching based on how well their character fits with the organization. So you eliminate multiple steps and time and allow that person then to just get in touch. They can just reach out through the system.
So are you eliminating the HR hiring managing role?
No.
So that
No.
they won't be working to do hiring in the future?
No, they still need to do the hiring. They're still
Okay.
the point of contact.
And there's still the professional that knows how to do that. We're just making their job easier.
Yeah.
The one problem entrepreneurs have and the industry has is people. And they just need more and more talented people. And so the network is being designed to enable that innovation a lot faster than it currently is being executed.
Okay, so the industry is evolving, but like right now you've got a bunch of people that are doing jobs that will get automated. I mean, you've got self-driving cars coming, and so all these people are going to be looking to transition their skills into this new economy as it evolves. So let's walk this through. If someone's been driving for Uber and the self-driving protocol advances and they're no longer able to make money at that, and they want a new job, how can they utilize this
So the
new
system is
technology?
set up to identify potential, right? So we talked in the previous episode about the abl.DNA, big piece of that being your psychometric testing, which are predictors, probability predictors of what potential you have. And so there will be recommendations for the system for either education or opportunities, and it'll be transparent as to why this Uber driver now makes a great whatever future opportunity there is. So the system is designed to take whatever the potential is of the individual and showcase it for what opportunities and what the future of work will look like.
So you're going to help present a digital portfolio of what each person has to present, or to what skills they have.
I think I'll reuse that word that Karen did, digital potential for excellence and an opportunity.
Okay, I'm not understanding. What is digital potential? What's my digital potential?
The potential, well, you're represented digitally, so the potential you have to succeed in an opportunity. Say you are an Uber driver and you want to move into electrical engineering.
Yeah.
On the network, you could be, if your DNA suggests, yeah, that's a great path, it could then introduce you to a handful of people that could help you move into that industry.
So how does this DNA get characterized? Or what is it? How's it get?
So the professionals at the center of it, right? So they are the ones who are responsible. So if I'm a user in the system, I may want to include my LinkedIn profile. I might want to include my Facebook. I might want to take this psychometric testing. I may ask a previous employer to do attestations. There's identity verification, and then there's all sorts of the testing that will. There's up to, I think, 40 or 80?
80
different tests that can be taken that cover the gamut of, who you are and what you're capable of. And so the more tests that you take, the more you engage with the system, the more complete your DNA is.
Is there a charge to take these tests? I mean, if I want to start building I'm on LinkedIn right now. I'm looking for a job. How can I utilize this tool to help me position myself for the wave that's coming in blockchain?
So charging per test is not our monetization model. No. So if you belong to the system, those tests are available to you.
Okay. And now, does this system work we have viewers here in the Bay Area. Is this something they can use? Or is this only...
We're hoping people use it globally. So we hope the Bay Area takes it on full swing.
Yeah, it is a global tool. We're using technologies that allow for that global reach to be part of our initial designs and thinking.
So are companies actually hiring from this today?
We're still building this right now.
Okay. Do you have a timeline? How far out is it?
Our timeline is continually changing. We have an agile methodology, but within 6 months we will have an alpha/beta product that we will be onboarding people to help us retool this or refine it so that it actually meets their needs and concerns.
So to make it, the more companies that join, the more useful it becomes.
Right, it's a network, and it does require what we call network effects for the benefit to be there, and so going after larger customers that have tens or hundreds of thousands of employees, they recognize the value in reducing their HR costs by half.
Yeah.
And then they already probably do use a series of assessments to retain their employees, and that's another potential for the network is retention. It's one of the greatest costs in running a business. So we recognize that it has a lot of value for the various aspects of having a job or the job hiring, and once we do have customers on there, we know that their needs will help us as well define this product.
Okay, so you guys are developing this company, this technology. What are your most difficult challenges as you're doing this?
Well, there's two challenges, technology and people.
Is it hard to get companies to want to participate? Is it hard to get potential employees to want to get their information on?
I think we've been lucky.
What's it like?
It's been conceptual, and we're moving into MVP. There's been really.
I'm sorry, you're moving into what?
Minimum viable product.
So the first public expression of the software.
Okay.
Yeah.
Network.
Into our
so that's kind of like an alpha or a.
Yeah, usually pre-alpha. Yeah.
Okay.
So it proves the core concept.
So you're proving the concept.
Yeah.
So you have to prove the concept, demonstrate that it works, and then you try to attract more companies, or you try to attract more employees, potential employees.
Well, yes. So it's a chicken egg thing. That's what you're getting at, and that's why we're looking for larger organizations, because they will be, in some regards, a honeypot to bringing in candidates. They can invite candidates into the network to then go through our workflow that will then better qualify them for those opportunities, and then they're a part of our ecosystem. So there's the ability for us to work with our organizations to retain them within our network, as well as to help them grow. So there are a number of components that we believe will help not only the individual have a better career, but the organizations to understand why they may lose people.
So this would be a tool that would help employee retention in the future, as well as help them find the right employees for the right for the roles.
The psychometric testing, it does work across a career path. It's not just getting a job.
Okay, so one trend I've kind of noticed that's taking place and shifting is there's a number of services out there, and instead of hiring someone for a role, there's more, let's just get the right person in to do one particular thing, and once that thing's done, basically they'll move on to something else, or we're not going to have permanent employees. We just want to pay someone to do a particular task.
So you're, I guess, speaking to the gig economy in some regards, and you used the word task.
Yes.
And previously, on the previous episode, we started talking about automation. And once we can define a task, if that is on the road to being automated. So what we're building is a network to expose the creativity and the human potential for solving problems, and recognizing that AI will actually, take over a lot of roles, but that opens up the potential for other roles that are more meaningful, both for society and people.
So what are these roles that are more meaningful?
Anytime there's creative problem solving, right? Anytime there's social concerns, anytime we have interactions between people, then we need to have adept individuals managing those situations. They're not task-oriented, they're very much more complex.
Okay, so you're looking at creativity as being, problem solving as being the skills that will be needed in the future.
Very much so. Very much so. That's the adaptability that we previously spoke to, is how can you take what you learned yesterday and solve some problem that you won't know about until tomorrow?
Okay, I wanted to step back and kind of go through the technicals of this. You're taking information of a individual and basically putting a digital profile, as you call it, a digital DNA profile together that would go on the blockchain. Is that right? In some regards, it would be on the blockchain. We would securitize it with the blockchain. We use the blockchain for various mechanics within our ecosystem. But there is a lot of benefit to centralized data. So you'd have some of the data centralized and some decentralized.
Yes.
What I'm actually trying to figure out is, are you going to need miners? Are people going to be mining this particular
you're moving on to
token?
Proof. Yeah.
Right.
So,
and what's going to incentivize them to mine? Or is it going to be just the centrally controlled? What are we looking at?
Well, we're looking at a very nuanced and complex future for sure.
Yeah.
All those questions are being explored by tens, if not hundreds of companies.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we are using the Ethereum network, but it's a very expensive network to use. It's going through a transition, as you know, too, from work to stake. And we believe that in the future, authorities on our network, enterprises such as Microsoft, they could prove that you did work somewhere. And we could trust them through a trustless mechanic. So we're not removing authority.
I can see where this would go. Basically, okay, I've got my educational curriculum that will eventually get proved.
Yes.
So instead of sending for verification from my university to send a sealed letter, basically this will all be digitally provable through the blockchain. Got it.
In some regards, signed by the school at your alma mater, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then you'll have your previous work history. All this will be digitized in a packet that will present who you are, and it will be trustworthy. But in order to do that, that's a lot of data. So right now we're looking at a system where some crypto kitties just crashed the whole Ethereum platform. So how in the world are you going to have all this information about my past on there? I mean, I don't...
You've just spoken to where we are spending a lot of time and research on, is that one, people think you can put any information on the blockchain, and various types of blockchains you can put some information on. But the Ethereum blockchain, you can put a little bit of information, right?
Yeah.
And even then, crypto kitties for 2 or 3 weeks brought down the network. So we are using Ethereum, and we believe that there's a lot of innovation going on with it right now, and it's a forkable technology. So there is going to be a nuanced blockchain that is specific to HR that we'll be looking to design. And to move through that, we are going to push the limits of what's possible with Ethereum.
Okay, I'm going to play the skeptic. There's some people out there that are kind of the Bitcoin purist, and they're saying that really we're just going through a transition, and down the road there's going to just be one blockchain. It's probably going to be the Bitcoin that will win out. All these other ICOs, most of them won't make it.
Right.
So is there a particular use case here for, are we looking at a business case blockchain as opposed to a currency?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
we're looking at it from solving a business problem, and that's how we believe it's going to evolve. I don't, there's too much technological uncertainty right now to say yes, it's the Bitcoin network or it's the Ethereum network or it's EOS or it's Origin or it's, who it's going to be, or whether they all merge or what's going to become of it.
Yeah.
But we do know that this is the future. So we are, like any other organization, we're starting out small. I know we've talked about, big aspirations, but you have to remember that, again, we're just at the minimum viable product stage and proving out the concept of what we believe will work, and that this is going to grow and evolve over time. And I think, I guess why I believe in our success is that we have proven business leaders behind us. We ourselves have been through this startup circus before.
Yeah.
And we're not looking at this as a get-rich-quick scheme. We're in this for the long haul to solve some pretty significant issues in the work economy right now.
In particular in the HR hiring spectrum.
We're focusing on that right now, for sure.
So do you have advice for people that are entering anywhere along their career that are seeing this transition start and they want to get more prepared for it? What would potential employees do to be more prepared to list their skills on this new platform?
That's a great question. It's interesting when you talk to maybe a digital native versus somebody who isn't or who is farther along in their career history. The sort of more you go towards the farther end, the more skepticism there is. With somebody, who's just graduating high school or even still in school, these kinds of mechanisms are just part and parcel of who they are, right?
Yeah.
They fully expect their digital presence to be out there, and there is very little concern for the information that they're sharing, more because they believe this is their realm.
And they grew up with an iPad.
Exactly.
And they also want the jobs to come to them as well.
We have,
and they will in the future.
In the future, yes. So that's we recognize that this generational transition requires this kind of technology.
Yeah.
So I just want to emphasize again, it looks like the biggest skills people can have going forward are really creativity.
Problem-solving skills, yeah.
How can you think about things in a different sense to solve problems? Doesn't that require an outside perspective a lot of times?
It requires actually having an inside perspective, I would suggest. So if you wanted to know about the blockchain, you basically have to spend a lot of time immersed in the blockchain space, right? So you do need to pursue what you want to either understand or learn about. And by doing that, then you're part of the conversation. And I think that most technology moving forward will be conversational as it evolves. Getting over fear.
Getting over fear is a big one. Okay, well, let's go through. We only have a little bit of time left.
Yep.
What are the major steps and milestones for both the company and the individuals to take to make this a reality going forward?
So I think from a company perspective, we want to launch the MVP network. We want to get that feedback from our users and our partners as to what's working, what's not, and then a full commercial launch of the product is the big milestone for us.
So I come from a manufacturing background. So basically what I hear you saying is you want to get a prototype up and running, and then you want to go into pilot production equivalent.
There.
And then once you get the pilot production, you'll work out a few bugs and get it to roll into manufacturing or
Right.
production.
Good analogy. Yeah.
Okay.
We need to work with companies and individuals and professionals
Yeah.
to make sure that our assumptions, and we've had a few that we've already debunked, that they're actually correct or that we course correct on them. And that's how software works. It's just a never-ending course correction.
Okay, so the next steps basically are get the prototype up and running, get it further along, get the bugs worked out of it. What about for both individuals and companies that are not you, but that are looking to utilize this technology? What do they do?
Well, I think the companies will be we will seek them and they will be brought to us. As an individual, you will be invited to the network.
Okay, so can we just say if any companies are out there looking to play around and test this technology, if this is something where they're looking to get more into the blockchain for hiring, this is something they should be looking at?
Definitely, and we would love to have conversations with people now until we actually launch our product, because they will help us shape this to their specific needs.
Now, what about all the individuals out there that are thinking about their career going forward? What's the next step for them to take to start to prepare to use this in the future?
Well, I don't know if they need to prepare much. They just need to be open to the idea of sharing in a different way on a different network, and then recognizing that there's going to be different benefits for that. And that's our job, to communicate that. We need to enable the companies on our network to better communicate that, and then individuals on it too. You can invite people into the network, and both of you would benefit.
So is there a particular sets of tests that I should be looking? I've got my LinkedIn profile, I've got my resume. So what else would I want to start getting ready to collect so that I could eventually have a better DNA profile here?
Well, once our system launches, the access to the tests will be there. So that would be something to watch for. We have partners like Civic and Sense, and so checking out what they provide, like digital identity management and that sort of thing.
So you'll be doing background check equivalents.
Yeah, know your customer. We want to ensure that the people on the network are the people they say they are. You can have many profiles on many social networks, and that proves to promote poor behavior.
So you'll have the quality seal of approval.
Yes.
All right, well, we are almost out of time. I want to thank both of you for coming on the show. If someone wants more information, where should they go?
You can go to our website at abl.network. That is the prototype, or that is the product that we're working on.
All right, well, thank you. It's been a real pleasure, and enjoyed having you both in the studio, and a really fun conversation.
Excellent.
I can't wait to have my own profile there and to be looking for a job, or have a job find me, even better yet. And I'm so happy to hear resumes won't be something future generations will have to be worrying about.
No one likes them.
This is really exciting time and an awesome technology. Can't wait for it. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. You've been watching the Money Badger. I'm Dennett, the host and producer. Don't be working on that resume. Be working on your creativity. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the Money Badger. I'm Dennett.
Wait. You're not.
Oh, oops.
Yeah. I was waiting for the nod.
All right. 10 seconds.